Hi guys, my name's Abby. I am a cognitive hypnotherapist and a master NLP practitioner. And I thought I would just post a video and kind of let you know my journey before cognitive hypnotherapy to today and on. So, cognitive hypnotherapy. Well, life before cognitive hypnotherapy was a young girl at the age of 5, all the way through to a woman at the age of 30, struggling with severe anxiety, constantly worrying about what everyone thought of me, not feeling good enough, not feeling worthy enough, a lot of low self-esteem, a lot of insecurities, a lot of jealousy, and this came out in all different ways from 5 to 30. So relationships was definitely the hardest one. I could never sustain a relationship. Still haven't quite mastered that one yet, but working on it. And I suppose I kind of gave up easily with regards to kind of goal setting, and I didn't really do too well at school. I didn't really do too well in my career, in kind of jobs prior to this, because of that constant sort of you're not good enough, you know, and the anxiety that came with that. And I went to a doctor. I went on antidepressants at the age of 17. And from the age of 17 onwards was the kind of constant hunt trying to find the right therapist or the right counsellor to help me make sense of this and work out what was the cause and why I was so low. There was a time where I was about 28, and I felt like there was literally no way out. So I did contemplate completing suicide. I didn't go ahead with it, obviously. And it kind of really hit me that, wow, I really don't know what to do now. And I think I got to a place in life where I was just like, I was kind of crying out for help and just didn't know where to get it. And then one day, I think I was 29, and I was out with a friend, and she said to me, "Have you ever tried cognitive hypnotherapy?" I was like, "What?" No idea what that is. She's like, "Oh, my other half, he sees a cognitive hypnotherapist and it helps with his anxiety. Just thought it might be worth a try." And I was just like, no, like, I've spent so much money and time trying to find therapy that suits me, and I've had just no luck with it. So I didn't really want to kind of pursue that. So she said to me, "I'll pay for your first session. I am that confident that I'll pay for your first session." So I was like, "Okay then, if you're going to pay, fine." She still hasn't actually paid. She didn't actually pay for it in the end. So I'll make a note of that, and I'll chase her up later. Joke. So anyway, I went and saw this cognitive hypnotherapist, and it just absolutely blew my mind. I felt like for the first time in my whole entire life, someone got me, and I kind of finally, I didn't feel like, I didn't feel lost anymore. I felt like, yeah, my prayers were answered, I guess. Within about 3 sessions, it completely changed my life. I cannot even stress enough how amazing this therapy was for me. So after kind of going on that journey with her and her helping me and guiding me, my obvious question was, how do I do what you're doing? Because from years of what I've been through and never finding the light, shall we say, you have just done that for me. So how can I give back and help others that may be in the same situation as I am? So to my delight, there was a way. There's a course over at university, Regent's University in London, and you didn't have to have great grades or anything like that. So that was really good to hear, because I didn't have any of that. And I took the course. I went on the course. It was just amazing. I just, even thinking about it just makes me smile. Like, it was great to kind of understand from a learning point of view how the mind works, and how we have the tools within us to change unhelpful habits or unhelpful thought processes, and how we have the ability to change all of that. And it was something I never thought I could change. I never thought I could be happy. And by learning it all, it was just the most amazing experience. I loved it so much. I then went on to do a master practitioner course as well after that, just because I just found it all so fascinating. So I now am happy to say that I am a qualified cognitive hypnotherapist and master NLP practitioner, and it has given me the ability to be able to help others, like my cognitive hypnotherapist helped me. So I guess the obvious question is, what's a cognitive hypnotherapist? I don't think I've told anyone that I'm a cognitive hypnotherapist, and they've gone, "Oh, right, are you okay?" Everyone's been like, "What?" So I thought I would kind of explain a little bit more about that. When you hear hypnotherapy, I presume you're thinking, look into my eyes, all around my eyes, or, waving a clock in front of you, or sending you to sleep and turning you into a chicken. That's what I get all the time. I'm always hearing that. And that isn't what I do, sadly. So we call it hypnotherapy because it works with your subconscious mind. So if you kind of imagine you've got like three parts to your brain, to your mind. You've got the conscious, and that's kind of the observing self. So that's kind of the awareness to any external factors that are happening in life, any events that are going on. It's kind of the direct awareness to that. So this is also kind of known as your ID, and this is your kind of driving force. And this is how we move towards pleasure and away from pain. So it's a behaviour, behind a person. It's how they're driven day to day by the conscious. And then you've got the pre-conscious. The pre-conscious is everything that can be recalled into the consciousness, and isn't lost to the subconscious. So we call this the ego. It adapts to external reality. So according to your individual needs, it's kind of the balance between the ID and the super ego. So the super ego is the subconscious. So, or unconscious, some people call it. It's everything that is kept from the conscious and pre-conscious by either irrelevance or repressing or repression. So if you imagine you've got those three parts of your mind. So you've got the part that's kind of acting in an everyday, kind of every event that's happening in your everyday life. And then you've got your pre-conscious, which is everything that can be recalled into the conscious, and isn't lost. And then you've got all the other bits. So the stuff that you think's irrelevant and you've repressed it, and it might be some horrible events. It might be something like some traumatic event, and our mind represses that, and that's locked in the subconscious. So, for example, you're driving somewhere, and you get there and you think, "How the hell did I just get here?" Subconscious. Or you're daydreaming, maybe listening to my video now, thinking, "What's she going on about?" And then, oh, I feel like I just went into a little dream then. Subconscious. So what happens is our brains are very clever. They're always trying to protect us, right? So when we're focusing on the moment, live in the moment, we're focusing on that present moment. But what's happening without you maybe even realizing is your subconscious has got all this stuff going on in the background that since you're a little kid up to now it's just been stored into your subconscious. So I don't know if you ever get a situation where you suddenly just get triggered by something and you get really upset or really angry or really, just distraught about something, but you don't really know why you feel like that, but you just do. That's because it's been triggered from the subconscious. So as a cognitive hypnotherapist, it's all about working with an individual. So no one person will be the same ever. Everyone has created from a young age up to now their own model of the world. And that's been shaped by learnt behaviour from their parents or from their carers or from whoever has brought them up. It will be adapted to things you see, friends, just growing up all the way to now and kind of developing your own model of the world. So sadly, that can sometimes be an unhelpful model of the world. So for me, I grew up with the belief that I'm not good enough, and I grew up with the belief that I'm stupid, I'm not worthy, and that was my honest belief, like from a young age through to 30 years old. Like there was no way of me getting out of that because that was my subconscious. And interestingly, every event that happens, so for example, let's say I'm 5 years old, this is a true story, I'm 5 years old and I have a boyfriend and I go into school and he's dumped me for another girl, okay? That's my first time of experiencing like upset and not feeling good enough. So that's my first time I've experienced that, for example. But it may have triggered something that happened when I was younger or something that was said when I was younger without me realising. Then fast forward in a few years, I'm in a relationship and my boyfriend cheats on me. That then makes me feel really, really sad again. It connects to that memory of when I was younger and maybe, further back. So I therefore feel horrendous. And then what my subconscious is doing is it's saying, hey, look, this happened to you when you were 5. Happened to you again when you were 15. This is going to keep happening to you. Like it's evidence. There may be many things or many people that you meet or many things that you hear, or someone may say a throwaway comment to you, but that's just filling your subconscious with that memory, the reminder, I'm not good enough, I'm not good enough. And then what it does even further than that, 'cause it's very clever, it will chuck you into the future and it will say, this is exactly how you're going to be in 10 years time as well. So, you get to the point where you're like, well, what's the point then if this keeps happening to me? So that's kind of how our mind works. So as a cognitive hypnotherapist, I talk to you as an individual and I find out what is it that you believe, in your model of the world, what is it that you believe that's unhelpful to you right now? What's making you feel sad? What's making you feel anxious? Find out, right down to the kind of nitty gritty, what is that belief system? And then what we do is we then look at kind of, times where this may have been, quite significant in your life, times when it wasn't. And we just really get down to the kind of the core belief from you as an individual. And we look at your capabilities, we look at your strengths, and we kind of use all of that. And we use everything you've already got, but in a positive way, so that we can build a new kind of outlook on life. So whereas mine was, I'm not good enough, I'm unlovable, or I'm not worthy, I can now kind of switch that, and I can think I am worthy, I am lovable, and I really feel that. So it's an amazing shift. And what I do is I guide you through that process, and I'll use some really cool techniques in order to make you look at past events in a very different way to what you're used to looking at it, and working with you rather than against you. So that's kind of where I am now, is I have the ability to turn any kind of negative situation or maybe view or feeling, and I can turn it into, you know, a better one for me, you know. So as I said, everyone's an individual, so I've got my own individual kind of techniques that I use, but what I do is I teach everyone how to find their, you know, unique technique. So yeah, so cognitive hypnotherapy has changed my life for the better, and just kind of doing this video now makes me realize how happy and proud I am that I now can offer that to other people. So yeah, so just remember, you know, any negativity that's going on in your mind, you know, there is a way out. There is a way out. You just need a bit of guidance. So so yeah, so that's kind of, hopefully not jabbering on too much, but that's kind of what I do, and how I became a cognitive hypnotherapist. So thank you for listening, and I hope everyone's okay, and I hope everyone's staying safe. And yes, loved you all.